You don't believe in no fate. Every day digging the grave. Step in the pit with the snakes. City of dreams, city of gang. You don't believe in no fate. I might just dig up your grave. Step in the pit with a gang. City of dreams, city of gang, 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 gang. City of dreams, live in your grave. You live in your grave. City of dreams, city of gang, 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 gang. City of dreams, live in your grave. You live in your grave. City of dreams, city of Scully in the gullies, yeah. Bully in the burrows, finna take your money, yeah. That ice shoot cause we throw, way too demo, pack that heat, we too ghetto, run the streets, read that memo, live that creed, all I need is greed and greed, read it and weep, counting them sheep, using the silence, put you to sleep, bagging the beef, tagging the roof, pop them a deuce, rocking the loop, back on the root, back in the back in the back in the booth, knock out your tooth, do it for truths, do it for trees, do it for me, do it for gang, you don't believe in no fate, every day digging the grave, step in the pit with the snakes, city of dreams, city of gang, you don't believe in no fate, I might just dig out your grave.
Alright, so now that this video has been claimed, let's talk about the new Cyberpunk update. So, if you watched my review, I hate this game, right? I couldn't have given it more than a 3, right? And part of my problem was how ugly it looked, right? That was part of it. I don't like the story, I don't like the gameplay, but they released the next gen update, right? And so this is on Series X. There's a ray tracing and performance mode. Performance optimizes frame rate and just the visuals overall, and then ray tracing obviously gives you ray tracing. And so, ray tracing mode's great. It's great in everything, but I don't think we're there yet, right? It always ends up fuzzy and just blurry. It kills the frame rate, and while it's really cool and I enjoy it a lot, it's just not to the point. You're basically playing on last gen with ray tracing is pretty much what it boils down to. So as much as I love it, we're not there yet. So let's talk about how the game runs on performance mode. So let me start by saying this time I picked Corpo instead of Nomad, which is what I picked in my first playthrough. And this is a million times better. It's much faster paced, get to the point. I just remember the Nomad start being very slow and boring. It's more interesting. It's just what I prefer. And the gameplay itself is just better and the story is more interesting. And so, just to get that out of the way, Corpo uses a lot of interior, while Nomad uses a lot of exterior. So to be fair, without the update, the weakest part of this game by far is outside, right? Their interiors and their lighting is insane, and it's probably the best there is. And so really, as far as the interiors go, it looked great before, right? I mean, even on Xbox One, this looked relatively decent, especially the lighting, right? So, I mean, it looks better, right? Obviously, with the next update, it looks better than it did before. Ray tracing, the lighting, the reflections, and all that stuff. It looks great. But the interiors already looked great. The game looks great at night. It looks even better now at night. My biggest problem with this game was outside during the day. So that's what I was the most interested to go look at. And graphics aside, the crowd density and population once you get away from the buildings is a lot better. I remember just the streets being relatively empty and seeing a lot of the same people, and while I did have that problem, there was a lot of the same AI, like this guy right here walking. For the most part, it seemed a lot better. But the game looks decent now. It doesn't look great. It doesn't compare to how the interiors look or how the game looks at night, but it looks like a current gen game. The road doesn't look like slimy and absolutely one flat texture. The sidewalk looks more broken up and uneven. The lighting itself's better. It's not all fuzzy, and that has to do with turning depth of field off and all of that stuff, messing with the settings a bit. But it definitely looks a lot better, even during its weakest points. And honestly, talking about graphics, there's not much more to say here. right? The stuff that already looked good with the night and the interiors looks better, and the stuff that didn't look great is up to par now. And I will say, well, the main characters obviously looked great before because they were main characters. They look better here, obviously, but the biggest difference you notice is just in the normal NPCs. I think just the lighting on them and their textures overall are just a lot better. I believed them a lot more than I did in the last game. There's certain games where they just feel like NPCs, just the way they move and the way they interact with you, the way they look, and they just felt a lot better here. Now I don't know if that had to do with the starting, this prologue that I chose different from the first time, because this was significantly better, but as far as graphics goes, that's really all I have to say, right? I still have story problems with this game, and I still have gameplay problems with this game. And I mean, would this have improved my score? Probably. Like I said, I think I gave it a 3 or 4. This probably would have brought it up to a 5, maybe a 6 with this update. But really, this is when the game should have been released, right? Delayed it a year and a half, or however long it's been, something like that, and released it like this. At this point, the next gen version's ready to go. It's stable on last gen, and the game would have done a lot better. But that's just my opinion. If you think that the game looked great before, if you're playing on last gen, let me know what you think of the overall, I guess, state of that the game should have launched in, how you feel the game plays now. And if you're on PC and, you modded this a year and a half ago, good for you. But let me know what you guys think of this whole update down in the comments below. Does this save the game? If they released DLC and you hated the game, would you go back and play it? And you can go back and play it now. Let me know all that good stuff down in the comments below.
Step in the pit with the stakes. City of dreams, city of gang. You don't believe in no fate. I might just dig up your grave. Step in the pit with a king. City of dreams, city of gang, 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 gang. City of dreams, 70